Welcome to the Prowler Podcast. Today we're thrilled to have Bryson Parrish with us, and we're going to dive into his college baseball journey, and we're going to discuss his recruiting experience from Wilson High School in Florence, Alabama to North Alabama, and he will share insights from an athlete that has battled back-to-back seasons with injuries in his college career and how it allowed him to come out of the bullpen this last season for the Lions, and where he appeared in 19 games and struck out 57 players and 57 batters in 55 innings. And he only allowed 22 runs and held opponents to a batting average of 252, and he posted his best ERA of his college career at 358. So without further ado, let's turn it over to Bryson as he introduces himself and shares more about his background.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm Bryson Parrish. Like you said, I'm from right here in Florence, Alabama. I'm a right-handed pitcher at the University of North Alabama. I grew up here in Florence, went to Wilson High School, played all three sports during high school. Kind of pinpointed baseball early on in my life, something I've always loved, and got the opportunity to come here to UNA. Going into my fifth year here, it's been a blessing. Getting my master's degree now, having that opportunity to get my second degree here, it's been a real blessing, and I'm just really happy to be here and talk to you guys. So
that's awesome, man. It's awesome to go play ball and get your degree at the same time, isn't it?
For sure.
Let's talk about your injuries at first. So back-to-back seasons, what were those injuries?
Yeah, so my sophomore year, I tore my UCL partially. I had not full Tommy John, but I had a UCL repair, internal bracing with that. So obviously missed the rest of that year, and then come back. Got healthy leading up into my junior year. Got ready to go and got fired up, and then it was two or so weeks before the year started. Kind of started having some forearm issues, and honestly, really just setback after setback with that. And it was all stemming from the surgery still, and just couldn't mentally get back into it. Just kind of hurting, and was scared, throwing scared. So kind of bounced around from a start here to being in the pen. And then, I really wasn't worth anything. I mean, I wasn't myself, wasn't feeling good. So missed most of last year, or 2 years ago as well. And then, finally coming into last year, was able to kind of get my mind back on track and get back into things and feel good, get my body right, and have a full season of health under my belt, getting to be myself. And it was really great getting the comeback from that, for sure.
Yeah, what was it like switching from like a starting pitching role to like a more like relief pitching role, right? Because I know that's a big difference in a lot of ways,
Yeah, it absolutely was. And coming in to UNA, they told me, you're going to have an opportunity to start right away. And I was like, that's going to be great. I'm super excited for that, as a naive freshman coming in, and got here and put myself in position, to start coming into my freshman year. But that was right after COVID. So that was the year we had a bunch of super seniors come back too. So, we had a bunch of 25, 26-year-olds that were seasoned veterans that were able to start for us. So, going into the pen then and honestly leading up to everything, I never kind of put myself in a position to succeed, if that makes sense. I was always really, I hate to say butthurt, but I was so butthurt about not starting, and just saw it as such a downgrade. And then coming into last year, I was expected to be a starter all year, and even right before the year started, was really expecting to start. I had a great fall. Everything was going good, and then they kind of sat me down last year and told me, like, hey, we value you, like, you're going to do really well this year, but we got to focus on winning the games that we can. And we had a absolutely fantastic left-handed pitcher last year, Jacob James, who was top 10 in the country in strikeouts, who started for us on Fridays. And they just told me, hey, we want you two guys to pitch on Fridays. We want to throw our best punch on Friday and go after people. And I was like, at first I was upset again, and because I'd really dialed in my starting approach with things, and I was ready to go. But getting that opportunity to throw behind Jacob was awesome, and after a couple hours, it's probably a couple days to be honest, of kind of being upset with the decision, because I straight up told him like I'm upset that this is this decision because I want to start, but locked into being the best guy out of the bullpen that I could be, and really dialed in my routines and things like that. And I mean, it was a big change, but once you fully dive into it and you just kind of face it head on and try to be the best version of yourself either way. I mean, pitching's pitching. It's gonna it's gonna be hard, but you got to make the most of it.
I mean, closers sometimes got the most pressure on them. They got to come in the game and shut them out at the end. To keep them from coming back. So starting pitchers, they got it tough because they got to be durance, but closers has got to come in there and be fresh right off the start. They can't come in there and be rusty for the first inning and then catch fire the second, third. You only get 1 or 2 innings sometimes, so you better close it quick.
Yeah, and I think the best thing for me was buying into that, coming in crucial situations and having to go right then, because I mean it's not the first inning with nobody on, nobody out. It's late in the game, and usually if I'm in the game, it's either a close game or we're up. So it's got to be your best stuff right off the bat. So getting used to that was really cool, and just kind of feeding off the moment and having that adrenaline was really cool. And then also you're dealing with other people's runs on base too, so it's like as much as I want to do good for me and my team, like the guy that came out in front of me, like I want to take care of him too, and it's a different feeling, that's for sure.
You see these, like even Austin Simmons here at Ole Miss, he had a UCL injury, Tommy John. And is it Elliott? Hunter Elliott, the pitcher here? Hunter, I think he went to did he already declare? I think so. Not sure. I don't know if he's staying one more year or if he declared already, but it's like those players, it's a struggle coming back from those injuries, and doing what you did last year, coming off of that injury, was very, very impressive. And so, just gotta recover, do your thing, and go out there and perform. But Bryson, so can you walk us through the steps you took in high school to increase your chances of being recruited?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I was pretty boring in the terms of the showcases and things like that. But for me, I always wanted to play on the best team I could during the summers, and if you do that, there's going to be eyes there. So play on the best teams that I could, that I knew I was going to play and compete and help that team win, and then obviously just try to balance things out with playing baseball, basketball, and football. Something's going on all the time. So if I can be prepared to do it at that time, like I had no free time, during high school, as many athletes know, and then just going out there and trying to perform every time, and looking back now, as I put so much pressure on myself to perform, it was really a struggle. I wish I would have sat back and kind of took it for what it was and just really enjoyed the moment a little more. But yeah, for the steps, I would say was just, playing on the best teams I could, being the best version of myself, and just trying to go out there and compete every day. And that was pretty much it for me.
Yeah. And that's one thing that catches a coach's eye in college, is multiple sport athletes. You played basketball, baseball, did you play football?
Yep, I did.
All three. Yeah, that's the top three right there. And coaches look for that. Hear Urban Meyer talk about it all the time. Great Florida Gator coach, Ohio State coach, won natties at both schools. He looks for, those athletes that play, those dual sport athletes and all three sport athletes. And so that's one step. And then, like you said, locking in, playing on the best team, doing the best you can. And,
well, not just playing on the best team, but playing on the best travel team outside of high school ball, because that's significant in baseball world of things,
Yeah.
If you're not on a travel ball team, you're kind of putting yourself below a lot of players that are,
For sure.
and
100%.
Because travel ball, you sometimes get exposed to more talent, especially if you're from a 3A or a 2A school, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we see in a football, Will, that we're more familiar with all the time, is if you're not at these 5A to 7A schools, you're easily overlooked. And a good way for baseball and basketball players to get found is through travel ball, whether it's AAU for basketball or it's travel league for baseball, you know. So
well, you got 7-on-7 now. It's kind of turning into more of a travel team.
Right.
That's getting really big in today's landscape of college football. But playing 7-on-7 travel ball for both baseball and basketball, that stuff gets you a lot of exposure and going to showcases. Bryson, what showcase had the most impact on your recruitment?
I never really played in a showcase per se. I went to 2 camps during my time. I went to an Alabama recruiting camp, and I went to a Vanderbilt prospect camp during high school. The Vanderbilt prospect camp, I would say, probably had the biggest impact for me. Because they reached out and wanted me to come, and I was happy to go, and because that was my favorite team growing up, watching them and Tim Corbin and Coach Brown there, and got to go and meet them and be around a bunch of other people that they valued at the time as people they kind of wanted to see, and went there and had a really good week, had a really good showing, and got the most valuable pitcher award. And for me, that just kind of showed me that I could do it, and put me in that go out here and perform for you kind of role thing, and just seeing that I could do well against people that were pretty good. That had a big impact on me personally, but also showed their coaching staff like, hey, this guy can pitch pretty well for what he is.
It's impressive going to Vanderbilt camp and being the MVP pitcher. It's pretty big.
Yeah, that is really big. And you hit on a point, Bryson, I like to hit on when recruits I assist is if you're not invited to a camp, don't go, because you're just a dollar sign on the sheet.
And I can vouch for that too, Preston, because I think camps are important. I mean, there are times where camps can be huge for guys, but I would say to any high school or baseball, football, anything, you're gonna get letters for teams want you to come to their camps, and emails and everything else, and it's cool. Like if that's something you want to do, like for you, and you think it'd be fun, like sure, but it's not what you think it is. Like that coach didn't pick your name out of a whatever and send that to you. It's a really broad thing, but I would say for camp purposes, unless that coach reaches out to you personally and says, hey, we want to see you here, if you're going there to get recruited, you're wasting your time, unless it's for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I know it's a lot different. Basketball camps, football camps are all different, and we'll get more into that. But going to all the camps you can that you're invited to, not just camps that just want your money. There's a big difference, and it's hard to recognize that in a way. But find what camps are best for you and what you think you would have the most success at, and you go do those. And I think you'll have a good look on it. And
well, I think another thing on camps, Will, is college camps specifically. That's what you want to target, and you want to get invited to those because that's getting in front of the direct college coaches. It's the same for all sports in that area. Now, if you're trying to go to work on your mechanics, whatever sport you're in, or work or see what your numbers are going to report at, then you go to like one of these, like for baseball, Pitch Perfect. They got tons of those little camps all across America. That's something that if you're going to be a sophomore, junior, and you want to see what you got to aim for, then go to one of those camps like that to see what you got to work towards. But don't go to a college camp to use that for that. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
All right. So the big landscape of college sports right now is NIL, transfer portal NIL. I know it's a lot different across basketball, baseball, football. NIL is. I know NIL is really big in football right now, and it's starting to slowly work its way to baseball and slowly working its way to basketball. What do you think the difference is, Bryson? Like, have you seen any impact at UNA, and has it influenced you to stay there for your entire career because of NIL?
Yeah, I mean, I think NIL definitely has. I mean, it has a gigantic impact with everything in sports, and I wouldn't. I would say no, it hasn't really impacted me. You know, us having a collective this year. I mean, is that great? Yeah, it's awesome. I'm blessed to be a part of it. It's super cool, but it didn't have a super huge effect on me. But I mean, like it's absolutely impacted the landscape of things with people I know personally, and watched how things play out with different schools that have that NIL money. I mean, if you're torn between two places and one you really love and one's kind of but that school is throwing you a big check, like
Yeah.
as a 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, like it's hard to turn down a check with some commas in it. So it's definitely impacted a lot. And then on the transfer portal side of things, it's been insane to see. I mean, it's crazy to see the impact on the high school kids too, with the transfer portal. I think that's who it had the biggest impact on,
Yep.
as far as thing goes. But like you here at UNA, even I mean, our coaches have done a great job with the transfer portal, because I think it's really hard to stay in touch for these smaller Division I schools to keep up with these other big Division I schools, like you said, with NIL money out of the portal. But you have to, if you want to compete. Like, it's something you have to do, and they've done a great job leveraging what we have to get the best guys that we can get.
I think that's why Dabo up at Clemson's struggling so much, because he doesn't believe in the portal, and he doesn't. I don't know about NIL. I asked him about the portal. Was it NIL doesn't believe in?
No, it's he don't believe in the portal. I mean, they got enough money to pay their players.
Yeah, they got plenty of money.
He wants to grow players, which is there's coaches that still have success at that point. I mean, Kirby Smart at Georgia, he gets his players at the portal, but he breeds a lot of players from the freshman year, and that goes back in baseball too. I mean, there's like who was it this past year that had Georgia, actually. They had a walk-on that stayed there all his whole entire career, Charlie Cadon.
Mm-hmm.
It had a record breaker year. So it just shows you, like, certain coaches can nurture you to be that point. But I mean, it definitely is a lot harder nowadays to keep those players focused, because, as Bryce has said, when you're a young kid getting dollar signs thrown at you, that's all you're thinking. That's all you're thinking. You're not thinking, hey, is this a smarter choice to go play for this coach because he's got a better pitching coach, or is it better to go play for this guy because I got more money?
Exactly.
I mean, that's something that Matthew, that Will, your buddy's brother, probably could speak on, is that he probably would have rather take the Wake Forest because they're a pitching lab.
Yeah. It's a way better opportunity there at Wake Forest for Matthew, just because they have the lab up there. They're known for pitchers and developing pitchers up there, and I think it's a great opportunity for him. I think that the portal has created a lot of good opportunities for all these different players in football, baseball, and basketball, and it's definitely changed the whole landscape of it all, which it's cool to see. It's not your like college football that you're used to watching growing up, and you see new faces on new teams every single year, and they're all like juniors, and it's like, wow, you can bring. It's like that free agency in NFL. You can bring on all these guys that are already developed, and I feel like that's why coaches are getting really big on it, because instead of taking a kid out of high school that they need to develop, they're going to take one that they already know is developed and prove themselves, and it gives them a better chance of winning the big one.
You talk about that, Will. We see a lot of these college coaches picking out the Division II NAIA level. Now, I mean, heck, I said it last week. The Lindsey Wilson coach at NAIA was tired of Division I coaches contacting his players, because NCAA has no more regulations on when they can contact, when they can't. It don't matter if they play for NAIA or JUCO. They can still contact them. It doesn't matter.
No, we talked about this. That's tampering. You can't tamper with players during the season.
But coaches are still doing it.
Yeah,
NCAA doesn't really have regulations to that certain extent. I mean, I'm sure Bryson has experienced it in his 5 years, Yeah.
Have you so all 4 years you've been there, Bryson, or 5 years, what have you seen with the portal? Like, staying there and seeing players come in and out. What have you seen? Have you seen it a lot or not much?
I mean, I've definitely seen. It's there. I mean, I think it's evident. But I think it happens a lot more than people realize. And I think honestly, for a lot of places and a lot of schools that rely on the transfer portal to get the guys, I think the earlier they can get to these guys, the better. I mean,
Yeah.
because it's kind of one of those situations where like, well, they're doing it, so
Yeah.
we got to do it. We got to do it too. If we want to get this guy, like we've got to get to him. And I've definitely seen it. But I don't think it's as big in baseball as far as going out of their way like directly to people. But they definitely have their connections, and they've got ways to get in contact with people that they want, and it's something that's there. I think it's something that the NCAA should definitely like have something set into place to where they can monitor it and can keep up with it. But like many things, like if they don't want to see it, they're not going to see it. So
Correct.
The thing with the portal in baseball is, I hear Michael talk about it all the time. If you're not getting contacted on that first or second day in the portal, your name drops all the way to the bottom of the list. And so that's what is kind of hard, unless you're like some showboat at one of these big SEC schools, Big 12 schools. If you're taking that chance when you enter the portal, because your name may drop down, because he's seen guys enter the portal and never play college baseball again. It's just that's how it is. And so it's definitely
we see kids like that all the time, Will, and they at all sports, they enter the portal and sometimes they got to restart all the way over, and then we see them like 6 years later. Oh, here he's back. Like DJ for Florida State, he's probably gonna have to do the same thing. They'll probably have to transfer out to Wingate next year.
He's a senior, so I don't think he's got. I think he's a all right. I'm just gonna be honest. He's an awful quarterback. It's Oregon State. He had a all right year, and then we thought, oh, DJ's finally good now. I mean, you saw what Dabo did with him that year. He was in the Heisman conversation.
Exactly.
I guess it's just some quarterbacks just fall off the face of the earth, but
I mean,
he's one of them because he's the worst quarterback I've seen play at Florida State since I've known Florida State.
It's bad.
It's pretty bad.
But they're 0-3 right now, and that's
I know having Michael Rebel. They have the talent. They have the talent, obviously.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They don't have the quarterback to do it.
No, they don't.
Like I turned the game on against Memphis, and I watched that game. I was like, this guy is awful. Like I could probably go out there and play better than this guy, but I don't know. It's everybody there was so much hype going around him, and that's what the media gets you, man. They hype somebody up, and then they're absolutely awful when the season comes around.
It's a monster.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's the same way in baseball. They hype up all kinds of players, and some pan out to be what they are, some don't. I mean,
yeah.
But if we look at stats, only 5% of high school athletes will play college football. I mean, college sports.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. It's like the hockey numbers are like Dad talking about that in high school. Like if there's a certain thing with hockey, if you don't get held back, you're not making it big in hockey. It's starting to turn the same way because all these kids are getting held back, and they have that advantage on these other kids and that great. I don't know. It's definitely harder to make it to play college ball because it's a full-time job. Bryson, as you know, it's a full-time job.
For sure, yeah, no doubt.
And so it's definitely hard to play college ball. And I shouldn't be talking like that about DJ. I mean, he's a college quarterback at the big ACC school. And so it's harder than we think. We can talk as much crap as we want, but it's a lot harder than you think to be out there playing the Division I football as quarterback in Division I.
Without a doubt.
But
I mean, there's several examples. There's players all the time that don't pan out to be what they are expected to be, but then they end up having great careers as a sports anchor.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of baseball players that do so good one year, and then they go hit the portal, go somewhere else, and then
you never hear about them again.
Never hear about them again. Like that's what this. I don't know. There needs to be some smarter decisions and the portal.
Well,
And
when the portals was wide open as it is, and when the NIL
it's so easy to do it. It's so easy to do it. So why not? And so that's why these kids do it.
And there's no real structure, for some of these kids. They don't have the structure at home, or their coach really is not keeping them at home. It's just you gotta go. I try to tell players all the time you gotta go where you feel wanted, and you want that family environment. Because if you don't have that, you're gonna hate it.
Right.
100%.
But Bryson, how you feeling about this upcoming year?
I'm excited. I really am. Like I said earlier, our coaches did a great job with the portal. I think we've got, I want to say 19 guys out of the portal just this year alone. So it's definitely new. There's a lot of new faces around. With us being in individuals right now, we don't really get to see each other a whole lot, or get to see everybody at the same time, only really at weights. But I'm really excited to see, the new guys and how we're going to mesh together and how everything's going to go. But I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a really good year. I think this year definitely has the opportunity for us to be the best we have since, coming to Division One, to be able to compete day in and day out, no matter who's in the other dugout.
Didn't Ole Miss? Didn't we play last year or the year before?
Yeah, we've played Ole Miss 3 times since I've been here, I believe.
That's what I thought. Didn't y'all beat us one time?
We beat y'all in 2018.
2018. Yeah, I think that one year we won the championship. We got hot at the right time because we had really good players, but we weren't as good. But we got hot at the right time. We're the last one in, last one out. So that's the great thing about baseball, man.
That's a prime example. Half those players I don't even hear about anymore that was on that team.
So what are you talking about? Tim Elko? It's the White Sox.
Yeah, him. That's about it, though.
He's an Ole Miss legend, dude. And then you got
he tore his ACL against us. That's when he got hurt.
Yeah, he did. Then he came back his senior year and was a great first baseman. Can freaking launch the ball off the bat, man. That dude can hit the ball.
I did strike him out that game.
You did?
I just want to put that out there. I don't want to talk about any of my other stats from that game. I don't want to talk about anything else.
You struck Elko out.
I did strike Elko out as a freshman. The rest of the game did not go well for me. Let me put that out there now. But
that's pretty awesome. You struck.
Take my word for it.
That's an Ole Miss legend right there. You striked out. Wow, that's crazy. I think you had Gonzalez from that team. He's in the pros now. I know Chatinier went to TCU. TJ, he's at Bama now. I don't know where he's at. There's a bunch of guys. Hunter Elliott was part of that team.
Well, you know what? We talked about. We were talking about this earlier. Well, it's crazy how that team didn't really stay together after they just won.
Yeah, it's. I don't know.
It's kind of like Mississippi State. When was it? Mississippi State won
the year before we did.
And then that
was COVID year. It should have been NC State that won it that year, but we won't talk about it that much. NC State should have won it that year, but they COVID something. They got screwed over there. But NC State was hot. They were hot, but
no doubt.
So who's your team in the MLB, Bryson?
I gotta be the Braves.
The Braves.
Real cliche answer.
I like the Braves, but I gotta go for my Cards. Cards.
I can respect the Cards. I can respect that.
But what do you think about that new pitch count they got going on in MLB between pitches?
Oh, the clock.
Yeah, the clock.
Oh man, and we've got it now too, and I love it.
NCAA has it now too.
I love it. I think it's good for the game.
It speeds up the game, man. I like it. It speeds up the game.
It's awesome for the game, and I mean, for me personally, like I like to pitch fast anyway, so it advantage me.
Yeah.
Now these guys are learning how to leverage it. Pitchers are learning how to use it to their advantage, and I think there are some drawbacks to it. It's like people have said, with it, there's going to be a spike in injuries. There's going to be a spike in this and that. And I mean, it's happened. Whether it's linked directly to it or not, who knows? But I think it's awesome for the game. I think it makes it great for fans. I mean, you don't have to go sit and watch for 5 hours. You know what I mean? For a 9-inning game, it keeps things rolling quick. And like I said, I love it personally. I think it's great. Not having to sit there and wait for a batter to get in the box.
There's
Correct.
definitely a lot of change coming to college sports and all across the whole landscape.
Well, I think it's good that college baseball and MLB matched each other in that decision, because now it doesn't make such a big transformation for a pitcher to go from college to, MLB, because it already is, because when you go to MLB, those guys you're playing guys from international that, guys like Aaron Judge and Juan Soto that you didn't really face in college, and they hit totally different up there. So.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
So it's definitely good that they match that, because it cuts that gap, where you learn at a young age and you keep going, if you do make it to that level.
So Bryson, what advice can you give current high school and college baseball athletes on what their primary focus should be, and what advice would you give them in regards to NIL and the transfer portal?
I would just say, if I could go back and talk to myself, in high school, I would just say, lock in, really. Take it serious. Like, if you want to be a college athlete, like, it ain't no joke. Like, you got to really love it, and you got to really want to do it. And if you want to do it at the highest level, I mean, you have to fall in love with the whole. You've heard it a million times. You got to fall in love with the grind. Well, I mean, you do. And for me, I think the biggest thing in my career was with the injuries and things that I went through, it kind of reaffirmed it to me is how much I love it, and and how bad that I want to succeed in it. And my work ethic. I mean, your work ethic has got to be top notch. I mean, you're not just facing the people across the dugout from you. I mean, if you're wanting to get recruited, you're facing every other person in your position in the country for that spot. Like, everybody wants it. So it really just comes back to how bad you want it. And I would say, advice, just, put your head down, man. Look up when you're at the finish line. Don't look up any earlier. Work hard day in, day out. Don't be outworked. That's such a big thing for me. Is it irks me to think someone did more than me, during a day. So do the most you can, and really value your health as well is another huge thing. I mean, take care of it. I can speak as a pitcher. You only get one arm. Like, well, you get two, but you get one arm. As far as throwing goes. So you got to take care of it. Like,
unless you're, what do you call it?
Unless you're Durangelo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But most of us aren't as lucky as him.
No, as a pitcher, Bryson, stretching is crucial, man. I see all kinds of pitchers every time, that regret that they didn't stretch good at a young age, because stretching can limit a lot of injuries, and especially
100%.
With everything, dude. With everything, stretching, recovery is a big part of, if you're taking it really serious and you're training hard, recover. And
100%.
And that's what all the coaches, that's why they have all the resources they have at these college schools, because recovery is a big part of your game. And it's something you need to use to the best of your advantage, and it'll show on the field. But,
and I want to go on that mobility point too, or the stretching point too, is that's another thing that's had a huge impact on me. Is, in the past, I've always stretched and gone through the motions of stretching and this, that, and the other. But, a couple months ago, like, I really dialed into it and, got on a really strict mobility and recovery routine, like really taking care of myself. And I've never felt better in my entire life. Like, I'm an old man as far as baseball and college goes, you know what I mean? But being on this mobility routine and really taking care of myself and seeing it as what it is, it's going to help me. One, it's going to help me move better, more efficiently. It's going to take care of my arm on its own. If I take care of my spine, my hips, and everything else, it's going to take care of my arm. It's going to take care of my shoulder, my elbow, all that stuff. And then on your point of recovery, It's so big. Like you've gotta know when enough's enough, and you've got to know when your body's like, dude, chill out. Like you need to stop, and for me, that was hard. Like I said earlier, it's hard for me to, come to terms with being outworked in a sense, but once I figured out the balance between, lifting at school, like we have a really good weight program, like it's fantastic. But if you're hitting those 3 lifts we have in a week with everything you've got, like you don't have it in you to go get 3 more lifts in a week at Crunch Fitness. Like you just don't have it in you.
Yeah.
And taking care of your body and knowing that is so important. It's so important.
For sure, man. But thank you, Bryson, for coming on and sharing your insight about everything. And it's really impressive what you've done, battling those injuries and coming back last year and having a good year, and see even better year this year, right?
Have a better Appreciate year. It. Yeah. Hoping so.
But thank everybody for tuning into the Prowler podcast, and we look forward to continuing to expand your awareness of our platform, and we look forward to partnering with those who are serious about playing their sport at the next level. And our weekly quote is, "Hitting is timing, pitching is upsetting timing." Warren Spahn. How do you say that? Warren what?
Warren Spahn.
Warren Spahn?
Yes.
I heard that guy. But on our upcoming podcast, we'll have more active players and coaches and former coaches and players, and look forward to seeing you next week. And Bryson, thank you again for coming on and sharing all the insight for these, young kids in high school and these college kids, and, just to show never give up and just keep on working, and it's a grind. But as always, Prowler up and go Rebs, and the Bulldogs didn't look too good this last weekend, but it's all right.
You just had to say that, didn't you?
Yep, had to, baby. Had to.
Jeez.